Learning objective A wants us to evaluate exponential functions. So let's go ahead and look at this problem. The annual number of shares, which is S, traded on the New York Stock Exchange from 1990 to 2004 can be approximated by the model of S equals 39 times 1.2 to the x power, where x is the number of years since 1990. They want us to graph the model, then use the graph to estimate the number of shares traded in 1990. If you go to your graphing calculator and sketch this, you're going to get something similar to this. So it'll look something like this, where x is the years on the x-axis and shares is s on the y-axis. You notice this at the y-intercept. So right here, when time is 0, and they said it's since 1990, so this right here is 1990, by the way, is how you'd interpret it. In 1990, the stock number of shares is 39. So again, their question is to use the graph to estimate the number of shares traded in 1999. So what you would do is just count those years over. So this is going to be, since 1999, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this right here represents 1999. And then what you would do is you would just read this graph, go all the way up until you actually hit it. And we can't see it on here, but we can actually have the math get it for us. So here's what you would do. Just look at this value. We want it when x, in this case, is 9 years after 1990. So I'm going to take that x value and then just go plug it into the x in the equation. So the number of shares would be 39 times 1.2 to the 9th power. And if you do 1.2 to the 9th power in your calculator, you're going to get that this is 39 times 5.16 approximately. And when you multiply those two together, you're going to get the total number of shares is about 201.2 billion shares were at that time period. Now let's look at the problem. What if I reversed it and said, in what year will there be 20 billion shares of stock? You could try looking at the graph and find 20 billion shares of stock, go over and see where it is on the graph. Or the easier way to do it is just to put the 20 billion shares in for S and do a guess and check method. So I'll show you. If you put 20 and you put 39 and 1.2 to some x power, what if you try if x is 1? If x is 1, what you're going to get for an answer is 46.8, which means it's way too high. So anything smaller than 1, you're going to have to go to the negatives. So maybe try x is negative 1. If you try negative 1, you will get 32.5. Okay, we're getting closer. How about we try x is negative 3? If you put negative 3 in for x, you're going to end up getting 22.5. So let's go a little bit lower. What if x is negative 4? And if x is negative 4, you're going to get 18.8. Now, we want to get to when there's going to be 20 billion shares, so it's going to be somewhere between negative 3 and negative 4 for this one. And I would go with negative 3 because we have to surpass 20. So if x is negative 3, what does that mean in terms of the year? Well, our starting year is 1990, so you're going to have to take 1990 and subtract off 3 years. So we're talking in 1987. So which just shows our graph is not exactly to scale, not the best drawing, but that would be the answer. So a guess and check method, when they give you the y value, in this case when they told us the shares were 20, just plug in various answers for x until you get the answer closest to 20 for this case.